There is something that I have always wrestled with in matters of productivity when it comes to systems for staying on top of things, which I know both of you implement at very high levels. The problem is, as I've heard it called by others, the work about the work. And I am the sort of person who enjoys doing work about the work and organizing all of my organizing. But there is a rabbit hole there that can end up taking more work than there is actually to do. And I wonder if either of you has like a good story about that, about a system that was too big for its britches, or you got in over your head about, and if not, what is your view on the work about the work? But if you do have a story, that would be awesome.
I feel like I should take this one.
Oh, I definitely think you should take that one.
So, yeah, in this situation, I am the primary work about the work person. And I too enjoy nothing more really than doing the work about the work. Mm-hmm. With one proviso, which is I love nothing more than working endlessly to set up a system. And then I slightly have the tendency to lose interest in it once it's being implemented and is kind of a bit boring and actually means doing the work and not just doing the work about the work is a lot more fun than the work. Let's be real.
That sounds like the kind of thing that needs that like works best on a team. Do you find that that's a role that you can play where you get to do that work about the work and then move on to the next thing that needs to be systematized?
Let me answer that. I think that is your role in this team of us that we have, and I think my role is I will find things in the work and the system that aren't quite working for us. Since you get to work on the entire system and do all the work about the work and organize everything, it comes to me and I get to use it as the user. And I will often find things that I'll think, just this little comment. It'd be nice if if this page could do that. And then you're off into your room, door closed, music on, and then the work about the work continues.
Are you talking about your household or your jobs, or like what level of system are we talking about here?
I think the most interesting system that we do is actually our household. I mean, we do this in our work as well, but we are a team in organizing our household and how we approach it.
Yeah. Tell me about how that works.
Do you want to jump in since you kind of devised the system?
Sure. Yeah, so it all kind of one of the key pieces of the system is what we call the small council, which we do once a month, and it's like a kind of, what would the equivalent be in a workspace? It's more than a stand-up. It's kind of like a kind of
well, it's the thing that it's the word that I hate the most in Agile, which is grooming. Terrible word. Horrible word.
Yikes.
But that's sort of what it is. It's taking a look at everything that is on our to-do list and deciding what we're doing next, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but that makes it sound like we just have a one-level to-do list, which
is where you come in.
That's not the impression that I'm getting, to be fair.
Oh, no. No.
So we have this system that I've been kind of honing over many years now. We've been married 15 years, I think, this
Mhm.
year. Yeah, it's this is going to dovetail a little bit with do you have a good story about a time that you got in over your head with the work about the work? Because I want to say like January-ish of this year, I got turned on to this incredibly nerdy guy on YouTube who has this system. He's like a Notion nerd. Notion is the system platform, I don't know what you call it, that we use in our house. And he has this system that he's done, I don't know, like probably close to 1,000 hours of YouTube videos on, called Pillars, Pipelines, and Vaults.
Ooh.
And it's really cool. And I got like super excited about it and dove right in and like watched all the stuff, and then and found that like the system that I'd already created was fairly close in certain ways to, but he's like me on steroids, and then that person on more steroids. So like, you know, he's kind of like the person who I don't know, he talks about stuff like you get the impression that he doesn't really have any time for like being gentle around his systems. It's all about like, you know, you've got to like be the best person you can be and be the most productive and blah blah blah. And so I like to take a little bit more of a human approach to things. But anyway, yeah, one weekend, I think I spent like, I don't know, 13 hours one Sunday, bearing in mind that I do this kind of work 40 hours a week, like Monday through Friday, and just like siloed in my room, like watching these videos and like matching my system to his system. And it was like one of the most fun days that I can remember having. So that's kind of an in over your head story, except I wasn't really in over my head. I was like just in my happy place. And so to bring that back around, so we have like this system that includes, so the to-do list is like the kind of very lowest echelon of the system, and then above that you've got projects. And well, I don't know, I don't want to get too like crazy about this because I haven't actually unleashed the full Pillars, Pipelines, and Vaults on our household system. I kind of keep that for myself because I don't want to like overwhelm the team.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, you're just getting like a tiny sliver of the great edifice that this could be.
But that sounds very skillful. If you're because like I know people who go whole hog into a system like that, and then they have to turn everything in their life into that system. It sounds like you're able to apply the pieces of it functionally to the things that need to happen. Is that what you mean by the humanistic approach, as opposed to this sort of maximalism that the person you were watching?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I started out by taking it all pretty kind of wholesale from what he was. So I'm like, okay, I've got to probably just try this. And then I know I'm going to be pruning things out of it that don't fit. So we're still kind of a little bit in that phase, I think. But yeah, I've been doing this. And by this, I mean trying to have an organized life for like as long as I've had a life that I was in some control over. And so I know by this point that it being too rigid about it is bad news, and you're just going to end up binning the whole thing because it like crushes your humanity. So yeah. Go ahead.
And I think the other thing, the humanistic approach, is I don't I think could come across as we're very organized people. We're on top of things. We get everything done. That is not true. We're very lazy people, and we love our free time and our sort of creative time. And so you create a system like this, it gets all of that stuff out of your brain that clogs up, the thinking about other things. You get all of it out of your brain onto some system, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. When things come up and you're worried about it, oh, we forgot to call this person, or we need to do this, you can just say to your brain, almost like a meditation, that's in the system. Don't worry about it. So I think that's really what the benefit for us has been in that system.
That's very relatable to me and how I work too. That basically it's like it's any system that I have is a way of saving myself from the problems that I'm systematizing, so that I don't have to be like holding on to them all the time. The question that I have for you at this point is one that I ask myself constantly in my own systems, which is the question about dependencies on tools and systems, and not on the system itself, but really the way that this, at a certain level of complexity, you become married to the tools that you're using, because those are the tools capable of handling the system, right? So like I've always had this sort of, it's almost like a reverse prepper like attitude, where I need to be able to bail from the system. And that has kept my systems sort of light and flexible, but I think it has also come at the cost of capturing a lot of nuance that might have helped in a more like sophisticated system, but it would have been, harder to untangle from. Do either of you suffer from this, or do you have ways of addressing this problem?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain amount of risk attached to the fact that we've like sold our souls to Notion at this point.
Yes.
But yeah, so, but I can't not do it. Like, I think for me, the cost of missing out on that complexity would feel too great. So I just kind of live with the risk and know that I've migrated from, I don't know, at least one, probably two, maybe three or four other infrastructures beforehand. And one of the things that I learned recently, actually, which has been helpful, is that not to feel that when you jump from one platform to another, that you then have to like go back and get all of your kind of legacy stuff from the old system and make it be nice in the new system. It's okay to just kind of have that in a kind of read-only type state, and then just kind of start from where you are with the new one, which is hard for me because, I like everything to be orderly and make sense, but also, yeah, the time cost of doing that would be too great, and then I probably would lose interest, and then it wouldn't get done.
Yeah, I agree with that. As a technologist for many years, I think about this a lot. I probably not even told you that I think about that factor a lot. I also think about, backups quite a bit, because if you're in technology, you've been burned at some point by something going down and you haven't backed up enough. So, but I do think what you say rings true to me, that I think we have just sort of accepted the risk of that, because the benefits are so great for us that I don't know, maybe in a year's time, you'll talk to us and we'll say the worst possible thing happens, and we've rethought our reliance on these tools. But for right now, it's I don't know, the siren song of this is too great for me too.
Do you have similar approaches to physical organization and systems as opposed to software ones? Like where you put your silverware and stuff like that?
Oh, yes.
Are they connected? Like philosophically, like is it all one system, or is it like different paradigms?
I think there we differ quite a bit, wouldn't you say?
I think they're different paradigms. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still. I still can't really function if there isn't a place for everything and everything in its place, kind of thing. So I think it maybe the deepest level it comes from the same place of kind of wanting to feel sane.
Yeah.
And not have my brain feel like a big mess of chaos.
Yeah. I've often said in my brain they're just monkeys chasing butterflies all the time. So if I rely on that, I'm doomed.
Okay, monkeys chasing butterflies is a very evocative image for this process, because it's not like I want to ask you more about that's like a saying of yours. Like you think of the monkeys chasing the butterflies often. Am I reading into it too much to see that as like a fairly intelligent process? Like fairly intelligent, like monkeys know how to chase things. Butterflies are fairly easy to chase. Like a monkey could have somewhat of a strategy about how to chase a butterfly, but like it would still be crashing through the jungle and causing havoc.
I think that's exactly it. I really do. I think that I've learned how my brain functions, but it doesn't function in a way that is beneficial to other people, let's just say. So it is those monkeys crashing through the I'll get the butterflies in the end, but there's those monkeys crashing through the jungle. And I think when you work with systems like this, I can just let my internal monkeys do whatever they want to do, and I know that we're set. The things are taken care of, and they can just go off and chase anything they want.
Do you have friends who are really bad at this?
Oh yes.
How is your relationship with them? Like is there tension in the relationship that just comes up in all kinds of ways?
I don't think that our friendships with people they don't interface so much with that kind of side of our lives, I guess. In that we don't do a lot of super organized kinds of things with other people. We do pretty like, we'll meet you at such and such a time and such a place, and then it's kind of open space. So I don't know. I think I might feel a little nervous about like going on a vacation with, with someone else or something. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. I think one of the things that happens with our we'll call them differently organized friends, why not? Is that they don't. I think some of the things we get into, like we meet every month to discuss what we're doing over the next month and 3 months, and then we have the rest of our time free. They don't quite understand what that is. So I think there's a lot of friendly nodding, about our processes when we explain it to them. So I think maybe where the tension lies, because I've had some questions. Why do you do that? You spent the entire day Saturday planning out the next 3 months, and then the next month it's all going to change again. So I think that's kind of where some of the tension comes in for me.
Do you ever have to help them? Like even in like an acute situation of like how to track something that's happening, and like how do you do that? How do you give them the like doable version of that counsel?
So you're talking about humanizing a system, and systems don't fit everyone equally. So you really have to know somebody. It's that relationship. If you know how someone's brain works and you can kind of work with them on that, you can find ways of kind of getting to that answer. And most people, when I help a lot of people do this, and most of my friends, when they run into that situation, are really overwhelmed. So they're going through pain and suffering, and it's really easy to say, I need this to go away. And I think that's the key. The key is to say, you can solve this problem, and let's try to figure out how to solve it in the way that works for your brain. No matter how strange that may seem to other people, your system is your system,